Hi, I'm Shan, and this is Life with Shan. This video is going to have tons of spoilers because it is finally the recap video of Ninth House. I have been meaning to do a recap spoiler-esque video of Ninth House since January, since before Hellbent came out. I initially read Ninth House when this was first published in 2019, long time ago. I finished Ninth House, not so patiently awaited for the sequel, Hellbent. I loved this. It was my first fantasy read that wasn't Harry Potter, Percy Jackson, It did take me about 150 pages to really get involved in it and appreciate it. I felt it was a little slow in the beginning, but kind of what I needed being new to fantasy and needing that world building. Leigh Bardugo did a phenomenal job with this one, and I'm so excited to finally do the recap video of Ninth House so I can dive into Hellbent and not be afraid of accidentally spoiling Hellbent during the recap video. You start off the prologue and you have Galaxy Alex Stern, and she is a Yale student on scholarship. She is part of the House of Leigh. I'm probably going to mispronounce a lot of these things. I am still fairly new to fantasy and these are just how I pronounce them in my head. I haven't audiobooked it in a while. But she is part of the House of Leigh, which is considered the ninth house, and it's a secret society there at Yale. The reason she's part of this house and has a scholarship is because she can see greys, which are essentially ghosts. While most people can see greys and ghosts, they have to take an elixir, or this elixir is very damaging and kind of poisonous to the body, and Alex is one of the first people who have ever had the ability to see greys, ghosts, without taking this elixir. So she is very important to the secret society, the Ninth House. The Ninth House was founded in 1898, and it monitors other secret societies on campus. So essentially they're like a safety patrol of secret societies there at Yale University. Before Alex was taken to Yale as a scholarship student and joined Ninth House, she didn't know about the elixirs. She didn't know about ways to dissociate herself from these ghosts. They kind of just bombarded her life and created a lot of trauma and pain for her. She ended up doing drugs regularly and becoming addicted because it was the only way she could weaken that connection to the greys. So much so that while she was going through this addiction and kind of destroyed her relationship with her family, she did overdose at one point, which then left her in the hospital, and she had a friend and many others die. During this night, it was considered to have taken place at Ground Zero, which is this accident is what had created the secret society Ninth House in Yale University to grow interest in Alex and find out her capabilities. What happened the night at Ground Zero was there was a drug deal happening, and her dear friend Hallie died during the drug deal. So then that was the night that Alex learned she can possess her friend's spirit and used it to kill everyone else in the room. Then she ended up in the hospital, and kind of what grew Yale's interest in her as they learned what her powers entailed. Flashback to, or forward to, her time at Yale. Her mentor at Yale is Daniel Arlington. They call him Darlington. It's a mixture of Daniel and Arlington together. I think that's funny. He is referred to as Virgil, while Alex is Dante. A new Dante is chosen every 3 years, at which point the Dante then becomes a Virgil mentor. So Alex is essentially the first year and is being trained to take on the role that Darlington is in his third year. However, as you see kind of early on in the book, as it goes between timelines and plots a little bit, Darlington is not there present day, and we have to read the rest of the book to find out where Darlington has gone. So the secret societies were established in New Haven because the veil between life and death is thinnest in New Haven, where Yale is there in Connecticut. Both in the real world, that is where Yale is, and in this world there are essentially 9 houses. Ninth house is the 9th one. Mainly there are 8, which are 8 landed secret societies with their houses, tombs built over area of the concentrated power. So there are different concentrated powers where the spirits or the line is thinnest, and Ninth House is in charge of ensuring that they all stay in line and follow the rules. One of the houses or secret societies is Skull and Bones, the study of prognostication. There's There's a night where they gather to do their quarterly prognostication, and they dig around the guts of a person, usually a mental patient, and then they give stock tips to all members. The person is then stitched back up and sent to the hospital to recover. Alex is in charge of attending to ensure everyone's safety, as she is part of Ninth House and is on her way to become the mentor of Ninth House. There has only been one death since all of these were founded, and that was through this House Skull and Bones prognostication. During this quarterly prognostication, Alex is also in charge of making sure the Greys stay in their place and they don't cross over or do anything unforbidden. However, they get particularly antsy this time around, and they are attracted to life and fear. She uses bone dust to ward them off. Still, Alex knows that something weird happened. Something was off during this prognostication. Something did not go quite right, but Alex is still a first year, and after this, she's called in by Oculus, who is in charge of the Leafs residence, which is also Ninth House. He tells Alex that there was a death or even a homicide, and Alex is needed to investigate. He then shows up where she meets Detective Abel Turner. The dead girl is Tara Hutchins, and she is from town. She's not necessarily a Yale or secret society member. Doesn't seem to be linked to any of the houses. However, it is still important for Alex to investigate to ensure that there is no connection. Post murders, the detective is assuming the main suspect is Tanya's boyfriend. Then Alex uses a coin of compulsion to gain access to see Tanya's body in the ward. To do this, Alex has to then deal with magic and the veil, which is the connection between dead and alive line. She goes to Leaf House, which is the Ninth House, before she goes back and meets with Mercy, who is her roommate. While she's on her way to do this, she then bumps into her advisor, and her advisor shares that her grades are not doing too well and recommends that Alex takes on a summer job. Next, you're introduced to another one of the Ancient Eight houses, Aurelian, specializes in logomachy, which is word magic. You deal with unbreakable contracts, vows, things like that, kind of like in Harry Potter. However, as we're introduced to this Ancient Eight, Alex then expresses her memory of the first time she did a ceremony with them. She was with Darlington, and Darlington had taught her how to keep Greys away from these ceremonies. It was her first time. Things got a little out of hand, and a Grey ended up grabbing her arm, which was something that Darlington and kind of like all of the secret societies at Yale did not think was possible. So this is a newfound establishment. Alex realizes that Leigh's house has been fully aware of everything in her powers since she was a kid and did not help her even then. After all of the trauma she endured between the drugs and other situations, I'm coming in with a trigger warning, but she was raped by a Grey ghost at one point, which kind of was the beginning of her spiral into drugs and needing to dissociate herself from them. She's upset that they did not help her. The university, the secret societies were fully aware of what she was going through and her capabilities, and if they would have stepped in sooner, one, she would be more resourceful now, and two, she wouldn't have had to endure everything she did. Back to present day, Alex is still kind of rattled by Tara's death, even though there isn't much of a sign that this has something to do with the veil or this secret eight houses. However, she does meet Dean Sando, who told her to stand down, as Alex has proven to do. She rebels, and she takes Darlington's car and she goes to the morgue and uses magic to see what happened to Tara. She sees that Tara was stabbed, but can tell through the magic that Tara felt no pain. Then she bumps into the detective, and the detective tells her that there were no hallucinogens, that Tara had only one contact from the secret societies on her phone, which was Trip Helmuth from Skull and Bones, which was that first house that we saw Alex had done ceremony with, the quarterly ceremony, and that night happened to be the night that Tara died. And then Turner, the detective, tells Alex to stay away. She has no business in this. Bye-bye, Alex. Then Alex goes back to Darlington's house, which is referred to as Black Elm, to drop off his car, hoping that Darlington will be there, even though he's been missing for quite some time. On her way back, she's attacked by a creature. It is a Grey, and she starts fighting with it, which allows Alex to struggle back to a safe house. She is vomiting blood. And one of her daws, one of the people from the Ninth House, tell her that the creature was a Gluma, which is a spirit and is raised by Book and Snake, one of the Ancient Eight, to serve as messengers. So this Gluma that is sending Alex a message. Alex is knowing now that something is happening. Someone is sending her a message kind of to deter her from looking into Tara's death, so she's now more persuaded she is onto something with Tara's death. This then kind of brings us back to a flashback that Alex currently has. It's her and Darlington at a party thrown by The Manuscript. There's a society that deals with glamours and tricks of vision and consciousness, and at this party, Darlington actually gets drugged. It causes him to embarrass himself, but this drug comes from a fog machine. Alex is bringing the two together of the Gluma that attacked her after she was leaving on her way to Darlington's house, as well as glamour and tricks that happened at this party. When Alex awakes, she finds out that the Grey is outside. Dean Sando shows up soon after the Grey. Alex insists that there's more to Tara's death than the detective believes. Also, the societies have to be involved. Alex then tells Dean Sando that there is more to Tara's death and the societies are involved, and Dean Sando, not so politely, points out that it is a funding year for the House of Leigh, the 9th house, kind of insinuating that if she goes against his wishes, he will pull funding for the house. However, rebellious Alex, still continues to investigate anyway. She then looks back onto the night that Darlington disappeared and how kind of Dean Sando was there and constantly assured her that Darlington just disappeared into a portal, and he thought that a new moon would eventually allow them to retrieve him. After Sando leaves and Alex has still decided to continue investigating, Alex and Dawes then head to Wolf's Head, where they deal in shape-shifting, so it's one of the Ancient Eight. Dawes thinks they may be able to help her talk to the dead so she can communicate with the Bridge Groom Grey. To get Wolf's Head to help Alex out with connecting to the Bridge Groom Grey, they establish a relationship or a deal where Alex and Dawes will help Wolf's Head get a statue that another secret society, Scroll and Key, stole from them. President Salome tries to get in on the deal, so Alex threatens Salome with the physical violence until she agrees to the deal that Alex created about the statue. In order to connect with Grey, she has to enter the Borderlands and communicate with the dead through the Borderlands. In order to do that, Alex has to die and be brought back, so she lets herself be drowned. Alex and the Bridge Groom strike a deal while she's talking to the Bridge Groom Grey. He will find out about Tara's death, and Alex has to then find out who killed his fiancée Daisy. Bridge Groom claims that Darlington had been looking into Daisy's death as well before Darlington disappeared. So now the Bridge Groom's just trying to get their fair share of the deal. They thought they were getting help from Darlington. Now Darlington's no longer helping, and the Bridge Groom has found someone else that knows Darlington and is willing to help Alex find out some things about Tara's death in exchange for Alex finding out what happened to the Bridge Groom Grey's fiancée, Daisy. A lot of elements going on here. It is a pretty thick book, but I promise it's good, and I'm explaining it as best as I can. In order to seal a deal with a Grey and exchange kind of a relationship power, you have to say one another's name. So Alex tells the Bridge Groom Grey that her name is Alex, and it connects them further, and the Bridge Groom Grey says his name is Bertram Bryce North. This helps Alex see that Tara's tattoo is a line from a poem that is associated with Scroll and Key, one of the societies, but this society particularly deals with magic of portals. There is next a flashback, but this flashback is into Darlington's history. His great-great-grandfather made his fortune by selling rubber boots. Over time, the factory fell apart into hard times, there was bankruptcy, and Darlington's parents were neglectful, so then Darlington ended up moving in with this grandfather who had to deal with this factory closure. When his grandfather then passed away, the estate was required that it be left to Darlington's parents. But Darlington was left with a small college trust and the house alone. So against his parents' wishes, Darlington fought to keep the house without having to sell it. However, there's no money in the house. The house is run down, it's no good for anyone, and he ended up keeping it, and he's lived in it ever since. While living there, he started dabbling with elixirs, made it a hobby, and then brewed something that ended up putting him in the hospital, which is how Dean Sandon ended up offering him a place at Yale. Back to present day, Alex is talking to Trip to figure out about Tara and try to get her address because she needs something of Tara's to give to the Bridge Groom Gray, which she now calls North, knowing that that's his last name, so that the Bridge Groom Gray, North, can track down Tara's spirit, ghost, Gray, whatever you want to call it. She doesn't get it, but she does find out that Tara and Lance were both weed dealers who dealt with members of Soul and Key, as well as Manuscript. She does end up getting Tara's street address, and she does some research on behalf of North for North to find out who killed his fiancée Daisy, and she finds out that both North and Daisy found dead in a factory that North's family owned in 1854. She goes back to her room where she sees her roommate Mercy is upset. Apparently, Mercy found out that a guy, Blake, has taken a sexually compromising video of Mercy and sent it to everyone. Alex then recognizes the sign of Manuscript drug called Merity, causing Mercy to be compliant to his demands in the video. But Alex realizes that there was a magical drug that was given to Mercy in this video, and that was what was used to get her to do all those activities against her wishes, which is against the rules of this Ancient Eight. Alex then immediately goes to Mike, who is the president of Manuscript, and demands to know how Blake got this drug and why he used it this way. Mike doesn't know how Blake got the drug since they keep it tightly restricted. She calls in a favor, asking him to magically recall the video. Mike agrees to the ritual and also gives her a powder to make her temporarily very persuasive. With the powder, which is called Star Power, Alex persuades, or if you watch the Vampire Diaries and stuff, I guess it's more like compulsion, persuades Blake and his friends to delete the video. She also has Blake take a very embarrassing video of himself. In that video is essentially he had to eat his own poop. Turns out that Blake got the Merity drug from Lance and Tara. Next, Alex goes to Tara's place to find the item to give to Bridge Groom Gray or North, and right after she does, there's a man dressed as a mechanic. He comes out of nowhere at Tara's place and attacks Alex, breaking her ribs. Alex then has a flashback that takes us to the night Darlington disappeared. It's both Alex and Darlington dealing with an interruption in the magic grid at Rosenfeld Hall. It was former tomb of the St. Elmo Society. Elmo deals with elemental magic and had once brewed weather there, and now it still causes disturbance. While working there in this flashback, Darlington realizes that Alex has more abilities than initially thought. She allowed ghosts to possess her, and she can also be touched by ghosts. And then Darlington realizes down there in Rosenfeld Hall, someone had opened up a portal, but as he does realize this, he was mistaken and disappeared, and that's it. Alex is just left there. Darlington is gone, not knowing much. There is another flashback for Alex, and where she's taken back to Ground Zero the night of the incident, where Len is Alex's boyfriend. Len is abusive to her and sometimes her friends. Len wants Alex to go to a drug deal that Alex does not want to go to, so her friend Hallie ends up going instead of Alex. And then Alex does go to Ground Zero, where the deal was to find that Hallie is dead. She lets Hallie's ghost possess her and murder everyone, including Len, Alex's boyfriend. Hallie then takes Alex to the river to wash off the blood. Afterwards, Alex hadn't been a suspect because she had no blood on her and was deemed too weak to have done it, so they thought Alex was a victim of this murder or this crime as well. Back to present day, the mechanic is continuing to attack Alex. She forcibly links up with North, Bridge Groom Gray. She said, like she had previously done with her friend Hallie, so that she has the power to fight back, because now she has more strength and energy coming from North, the Gray. Coincidentally, Turner ends up showing up, stops the mechanic from attacking Alex. He's shocked to discover that the mechanic himself is Lance, who was supposed to be in a jail cell, because he was the suspect of Tara's murder. Great. Alex explains to Turner that Alex also notes that as Lance attacked her, he had wanted to know who hurt Tara, indicating that he was innocent. So Lance thought Alex knew what happened to Tara. He meets with Dawes. Dawes uses magic to help Alex's body heal and fix the broken ribs. It does require that she bathes in milk, which turns watery as the magic does its work. He can communicate with her because the water acts a tie between the two sides, or the two worlds over the line. North then tells Alex that while she borrowed his strength, it connected them even deeper, which caused the spirits of the men that Alex had killed to start looking for North. Alex and North reform a connection, and North shows more of his story. Alex learns that North was at one point possessed by the ghost of a man who likely died during a prognostication, which then killed Daisy. Prognostication was that first ceremony that Alex went to the night Tara died, and she could tell that something was off the whole time. This has also happened to North and Daisy back in 1854, before the Ancient Eight were established. After all of this, after the milk bath and everything, Turner returns, and the three of them, Dawes, Alex, and Turner, put together what happened. They think that Tara and Lance were growing the drug Merity, and also based on what was in Tara's room, they think that they were using a hallucinogenic mushroom to enhance portal magic. Alex then attends a party that she was invited to, where she bumps into Colin from Scroll and Key, who was also dealing drugs with Tara. He is one of Belle Baum's assistant, and the other assistant, Isabel Andrews. And together they confirm that he was at the salon last week when Tara was killed. The next day, Alex learns that the greenhouse Tara had been using to grow Merity has been cleared out by another student. Alex and Turner then go and question Lance in jail using a form of magic, where Lance confirms that Kate had asked him to start growing Merity, but didn't know what it was when he was asked. They sold some also to Blake. Soon he brought Colin to them, who wanted them to grow mushrooms, and that's how they started bringing them together, the mushrooms and the Merity, and then they started putting them together into Tab, which is what their new drug was called, and Tab take a person short distances through portals. They have to be at the Scroll and Key tomb to go a long distance. Then you go to the next day. There is a new moon, which means it's time to try and bring back Darlington. There is Alex, Dawes, Sando, and Michelle, who is Darlington's Virgil mentor. So essentially have Alex, who was training her, was Darlington, and the person who trained Darlington was Michelle. So Michelle is now there with Alex, Dawes, and Sando, and together they're trying to perform a ceremony ritual to get Darlington back. However, beginning of this, there is an appearance of a bloodhound, which means that Darlington is not on either side of the veil. They don't know where he is. He's not on the living side, and he's not on the other side. Where is Darlington? Then you kind of find out that he was consumed, soul and all, and it wasn't a portal he stepped into, but a mouth into hell. That's a big plot twist. Freaking out here, people. Darlington is in hell. It's not as easy as we thought it would be. We thought he was just on the other side, and he got lost. But no, he's in hell. What are we gonna do? Blake shows up and uses star power to get into Bastogne and attacks Dawes and tries to kill Alex. He's angry that Alex ruined him. In the end, Dawes is forced to kill Blake. After this, Turner, the detective, Turner listens to Blake's voicemails and finds out that Tara ended up finding out what Merity was and what he had her growing and dealing, which gives motive to kill Tara. However, Alex knows from previously in the story when she used compulsion on Blake that Blake did not kill Tara. Then later on, Alex goes to Dean Sando and he makes it clear that he will make sure all loose ends are tied up, everyone's okay, but he will not punish the other houses because it is a funding year for the 9th house, Leith house, and they don't want their funds to be withdrawn, which is such a poor political move. So frustrating. This happens even in these books. She's now angry and she goes to a safe house, which is Hutch, which is one of the safe houses of 9th house. After a few weeks of hiding out in this safe house, Mercy shows up along with Mira, Alex's mother. Mercy had followed Alex there before. Mercy is Alex's roommate. So Mercy knew that Alex was hiding there and she brought Alex's mom to kind of get her to come back to class and everything. It's not working, so North forcibly possesses Alex after Alex has been ignoring him to give her a list of dates and everything about what happened to him. Alex is annoyed, but Liz starts looking into these dates and finds Darlington's notes from before he disappeared. She realizes that these dates correspond with deaths as well as the founding of each of the tombs of the secret societies. Essentially, through this, Alex puts together that Darlington found out that the nexuses underground of each house that kind of gives them their power, fuels the societies, were created based on the deaths of various women. The first death was that of Daisy. Tara's death was meant to create a new nexus house, whatever whatever you want to call it, but Tara's death was meant to create a new portal of energy in a way, to create a new sense of magic. Then Alex finds a coin of compulsion and realizes Blake had been compelled to attack her. She also knows that Dean Sando just got divorced and was in need of money. Sando is also a former Leith Knight like her and Darlington and had been very good at it. Alex then goes to Dean Sando to confront him, question him, and share everything she just discovered, where Dean Sando confesses to killing Tara because Saint Elmo paid him to create a new nexus. However, he also says that it didn't work. There's no new nexus. Similarly to how Darlington had found out the connection between the deaths and the nexuses, but something did not work. They don't know everything like they thought they did, but something went wrong and there's no new nexus and Tara's sadly dead. Dean Sando also confesses to being the reason Darlington is gone, and he summoned the Hell Beast, which was supposed to actually kill Alex, but it ended up taking Darlington, sent the Gluma after Alex. And the ending of this book had so many plot twists, but then Professor Balbaum interrupts to admit that she's actually Daisy, who is North's fiance, who died in 1850s, in the fact she is a wheel walker like Alex with the same special powers. In 1854, there was a prognostication gone wrong and the victim died. The soul tried to possess her onto her power, but Daisy forced the soul into North instead. However, it used North to shoot her and then had North shoot himself too. So it looks as though North killed Daisy and then killed himself. However, that's not what happened. There was a different soul in North's body at the time. When Daisy died, her soul reached to the nearest living person, which ended up being Gladys, who was Daisy's maid, and she possessed Gladys's body. Keep Alive from 1854 to 2019 had to consume human souls, their wheel walkers, to sustain her longer. No matter what, she could not leave New Haven without decaying because the line would just get thicker between the worlds. Right then and there, Bellbaum kills, but when she goes to try and consume Alex, Alex draws upon all the souls in Bellbaum to use their power to fight. Daisy's soul is the last one to be extracted and the rest of the souls turn on her. Bellbaum's body crumbles into ash. So Bellbaum was going after these souls and at one point consumed Daisy's soul and was carrying Daisy's soul and all these other souls it consumed throughout time to stay alive in New Haven. Alex used power to defeat Bellbaum and called upon all the souls to fight Bellbaum after Bellbaum had killed Dean Sando. Later, Alex and Dawes meet up with Michelle, who was the superior to Darlington. Alex tells Michelle that she thinks Darlington's soul wasn't actually consumed. She thinks Darlington has been trying to communicate with her, but not as a ghost. She thinks he was transformed into a demon. She's determined to go into hell and get him out. And then we start Hellbent. I'm gonna start this one hopefully this week. I'm very excited, especially after that wrap-up video. This Ninth House was pretty complex and it's thick. It was really good, but it's complex. So thank you for bearing with me and my mispronunciations. There's so many characters, so many houses, so many different worlds, but I loved it. I've read it twice and I've listened to it 3 times. It's so good. I love it. There's even a map in the beginning, which I'm a sucker for, but there's a map of Yale University with you'll see all the different houses in it and everything. Between flashbacks, going through different timelines, different settings, it is complex, but it's very good. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if there are other stories you want me to do recaps of or anything else. I said this was a difficult recap to do, but it was very fun. I enjoyed rereading Ninth House and re-summarizing it and trying my best to get all the little things in it so that way you can dive into Hellbent. Thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy!